First.
So 2 weeks ago you mentioned the 6 enemies. And there's one I didn't get.
First is desire.
Yeah.
Desire, then second is greed. Third is anxiety or anger. Fourth is delusion. Fifth is pride. And the sixth is very strong identification with the body. Or sometimes people say it causes strong jealousy and hatred. So before the desire, there is an attachment and detachment, likes or dislikes. Before the likes and dislikes, the sense organ perceives the objects of the world. That object may be a person. Oh, how smart you are, how beautiful you are. So that is okay. Appreciation is okay. But if I keep thinking on it, thinking, mind causes attachment. So when the attachment becomes very strong, what is that attachment? I want to have it. So that is what the desire is. And then the journey starts. Why I want to have it? Because it gives me happiness. So when it gives me happiness, then what? So maybe possible that, like I explain all the time, soulmate, dating, soulmate. Now I want to own it. So I marry. And we all know what happens after marriage. So, not a big deal. No, not all, but majority. So you see that one desire has an element of greed, dating, soulmate, marriage. But after a few months or a few years, oh, I made a mistake. That is what the anxiety and anger. So desire, greed. Greed means that I want to repeat that desire. And so after a few months we are agitated, we blame our own mind. So third level. Now all the three causes the delusion. It comes because of the delusion. Why I am looking for peace and happiness outside. So I am not saying do not marry. I am not saying that do not eat pasta. I am not saying that. I am saying that I should not seek happiness outside. That is a projection. Projection on a handsome boy, on a beautiful girl, and long list, on a smartphone, etc., etc. Hi, Charlie. So, that imposition on the mind to seek happiness is the problem. What that means, we say, our masters teach us that you have to become aware and examine if there is peace and happiness in any object or in any person outside. There is nothing like this. Mind imposes. I'm in love with you. What it means? I like you and then I love you. First, if I dislike you, how can I love you? See that? Understand that clearly. So first I like you and then I love you. But why I love you? because it gives me happiness. I cannot love you if you don't give me happiness. Anything, any object, any person. So it means mind has already imposed happiness on you. Now we have to understand whether the happiness is with you. Then if the happiness is with you, then everyone should love you. That is a problem. One side, that is a problem, but it is not possible that everyone should love you. So we lose awareness. Why we lose awareness? That is the delusion. What is that delusion? The happiness appears in you. Happiness appears true in you, but it is not there. It is like the sky is not blue, but it appears blue. The water is seen in the mirage, but it is not there. So I see the happiness in you, in any object outside. But now you take advances. What is advances? Soulmate. No, dating first, soulmate second. It happens with even pasta. What to talk about men and women? I like this food. I cannot live without it. Come on, you cannot live without it. Huh? Sugar is sweet. Huh? It is a nectar. Until 50, and when you have diabetes, the same sugar becomes a poison. It is your perception. So we have to examine whether my perception is true or not. That is what the journey of Eastern wisdom is. It does not have any blind belief, etc., etc. We don't go. We don't say we will send you to heaven. You cannot validate. You cannot simply validate if there is a heaven or hell. So what happens when your mind is dictated by an idea that there is a heaven? You paralyze your intellect. See that? You paralyze your intellect, and there begins the cult, dogma, religion, ism, etc., etc. I'm not going there. I'm not interested. I respect all the religion. It has nothing to do with me. See that? So what the Eastern wisdom says, are you ready to inquire? Can you do the self-inquiry with allowing the intellect to go deeper, to understand the entire journey of life? Doesn't it make a sense? No. If it doesn't make a sense, it means you have a blind belief. Continue, live your life in first dating, soulmate, then sourmate, then continue the journey. Then you say in the beginning, I am happy marrying you, now I am happy divorcing you. Mind is the same, you are the same. What happened? If I question you, you have a blame, complain game outside. You are blaming, complaining, and reacting outside. So it means the entire world is crazy, only you are sane. Only you are the same in the world. Live into that, continue to suffer. Because we don't want to bring an end to the suffering. This is what is happening in majority of the people. So we understood that we have to discover our true nature, and it is only the meditation that helps you to reveal the real nature. Why? You should ask. Why? Can you see the cell through your naked eyes? You have to use microscope. Do you see the stars in the naked eyes? No, you have to use telescope. So, we extend the vision of the sense organs to see the material world at a very subtler level. It's scientific. Clear. Now question is, can my eyes see my own eyes? Eyes can see you all, but can this eyes, that is vision, can see me? It cannot see me. Mirror is an image. Second part, the sense organ has a limited range. If you want to see an object which is very near to you, which is very far to you, you cannot see them. You see, Eastern wisdom accepts the knowledge gained by the sense organs, knowledge gained by the mind. No opposition, no blind belief. Now, sometimes we say science and self-discovery, science are going against. Nothing, we don't go against anyone. We say you understand. Now come to the mind. So there is a subtle instrument that is mind. Do I see emotion, feeling, but I know when I am upset? So it is the subtle knowledge that is gained by the mind. You know what happens? People want to have a private lesson with me, and when I ask them, how are you? They say, I'm fine, fine. And then we continue the conversation. After a few minutes, then they say their life is hell. How are you? I'm fine. I'm doing very fine. I know how much fine you are doing. I used to do the same thing with my master. Now the situation has changed. So you see, the mind gains the subtle knowledge that we cannot see through the sense organ, but still it is a knowledge. I am upset. I know it. But outside I have a bigger smile, forcible smile. I'm fine. Nobody is. So now see that, can the mind know who am I? No. Why no? The way the sense organ cannot know itself, but it knows the entire world, same way the mind can know the subtle feelings and emotions and thoughts, but it cannot know what is behind the mind. Because there is a I am behind the mind, there is I am behind the sense organ. So Eastern wisdom is simply a special instruments of knowledge like telescope and like microscope. But that does not look outside, that is the way we look inside. It gives you the knowledge, it gives you the practice to have a personal experience of the real self. What is the goal of meditation? Is to discover the real self. See, everything is step-by-step process. We have 3,000 texts. We have more than 3,000 masters. Everyone has validated the same principles. Their expression is different. My master used to talk to me differently, but he used to always say, my master taught me. Principles are the same. Here we don't have any issue of pleasurism. Huh? I think, did you understand? Pleasurism. You know? Or what we say, pleasurism. Am I speaking correctly? When you steal the principle, copyright, there is no copyright here. Why copyright is not there? Because they are eternal principles. These principles lived for 6,000 years and they are still relevant. So now, today, we understand one part. What exactly is the real self? There are many verses on that. So we will understand one. So, Yoga Sutra number 24. What Patanjali says, Klesh karma vipak ashaya paramrishta purush vishesh ishvaraha. What is real self? That real self is pure consciousness. First thing. Second, the affliction and the suffering do not touch it. Third, it is not dictated by any action that my body and the mind performs. Fourth part, it does not accumulate any traces of impressions that is deposited in the mind, but it is not affected. It is untouched. It is unsmeared. It is a state of pure consciousness. And that state of pure consciousness, which is untouched by the ignorance and the products of ignorance, not subject to my action or impressions or the results of an action, is known as real self, and that real self, Patanjali says, is Ishvaraha. One literal meaning is God. So we will understand what exactly is the God, so I'm holding back. So as we go on in our sessions in the future, we will understand. So now see that. Now you should see. I speak to you whether you like me or not. Two options are there. I perform any action. So what is the result? Action is always defective. Now see that. You may say, I love you, come on. How that action be defective? Because you are not hating me. You are loving me. So there are two opposite feelings. Every action has opposite result. What is that? Any action that you perform. You may have experience in your daily life. One day you say, honey, I love you. And honey says, I don't love you. At this time I'm busy. You see? Now the time has come that you are loving me. What happened before? You see? You might have said. It's a very well known fact. If you say it is not happening, then you are an angel. So every action is defective, means it has opposite result. What is that result? Either pain or pleasure, victory or defeat, profit or loss, like or dislike, love or hate. So what we are saying, the nature of the real self, it is not affected by any action. So why we are talking about? We are discovering. We want to discover that real self which is behind the body and the mind, seated deep inside the heart. That is the discovery of meditation. Second part, it is untouched. I told you, untouched by ignorance. What is that ignorance? Delusion. What we were talking about? Desire, greed, anxiety and anger, delusion, pride, strong likes and dislikes. It is away from. It is totally independent. How can you say? Masters give hundreds of examples. You build a house and demolish it. Does anything happens to your space? The space remains the same. Water is one. Nothing happens to the water. It is the same H2O. Whether you have waves or foams or bubbles or clouds or tsunami or storm, the water remains water. Not at all affected. Do you think that when there is a tsunami, the constituents of the water change? It remains the same. Same thing. Can you divide consciousness? Consciousness is all one. The same way the space is. It appears divided, but it is not. It appears divided, but it is not. Clay pot. There is the clay pot? Yes. Can you show me where is the clay? Where is the pot? Here it is clay. Here it is clay. Here it is clay. Where is the clay pot? Right, left, up, down, every side. It is only the clay. Can I have the perception that it is a clay that appears as a clay pot? Am I clear? It's a fact of life, the truth of life. You crush the clay pot. What remains? Clay. You mold it into a different glass. What is that? Clay pot. Clay. Gradually we are understanding there are 6 principles which defines what is our real self. This is the first principle. So now can I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clay pot with different shapes and the colors, one consciousness? Charlie appears, but consciousness is one. John appears, consciousness is one. Sophie appears, but consciousness is one. Mead appears and I appear as this with the shape and the size and the color, but consciousness is one. Can you divide consciousness? Try to divide. You cannot. Discovery of that consciousness behind the body and the mind is the goal of meditation. And that consciousness is untouched like water. Tsunami, think of that, the water is fighting and again it remains the water. Very crest in the trough in an ocean of the water, water remains the water. It does not change its essential properties. Do you see that? Can I reach to that state of the consciousness? Is the goal of meditation. Think of this. Space is one, it cannot be divided. Water is one, it cannot be divided. But it appears divided. Why it is divided? Our master says it is because of ignorance. What is ignorance? It is incomplete knowledge. What is that incomplete knowledge? That I am here, you are there. What it means. See other point. What is that ignorance? When I say I am here, what it means. I claim I am the body. Then I see other body and then I say you are there. Am I right? See, so simple. Science applies the reasoning to have an inference. So we have an inferential knowledge, but here it is a direct knowledge. I am here, what it means? It simply means I am defining myself limited by space, time. Clear? How can I define by limited time in this space? Only when I have a shape. So what is the shape? Shape of a body. It proves that I am the body. Right? First level of ignorance. I am the body. And then I see that as I am the body, it is separate from other bodies. And that is why I see you and me are separate. It is something like two waves are fighting. You are there, I am here. Come on. Understand. Eastern wisdom is a special instrument of knowledge that makes you understand what exactly is the real self. So understood, that is a part of ignorance. But why this is ignorance? Ask yourself. So let me examine. Am I the body? Ask yourself, am I the body? Body belongs to me. Car belongs to me. Smartphone belongs to me. Am I the body? I gave you a simple example. Bring your right hand in front of yourself. And then you say, I know my right hand. Now wait, does the right hand say also that I know you also? Does your right hand say that I also know you? Does your right hand say that I know you? Come on. Why? Right hand cannot say it. Why? Right body is inert. It is made up of carbohydrate, protein, minerals. It is a dead matter. It does not have a consciousness. I cannot recognize I am without consciousness. So hence it proves that I am not the body. Body is simply an instrument. Looks difficult to understand. No, that's why we have to start the journey step by step. No worries. Every session will help you to understand. You see that? Now what is that ignorance that I consider the water is deeper inside? But I see one wave, this beard guy, second wave Sophie, third wave John, fourth wave Charlie, fifth wave Meat. They all are waves. But if you look closely, examine closely, what is wave? It is water. It appears wave. Can you remove water from the wave? You remove consciousness from the body. Will you exist? That is why we say when someone died, we say he has left. Who the hell left? The body is still there. Who the hell has left? See that? Understanding. First part is clear understanding. I am not the body. It's a very common statement. When the person died, we say he has left. Where? His body is there. It means he is not the body. Do you understand that point? Understand it clearly. Think over it. Now, when I am the body, then I give a label. What is a label? Husband. So I must have a wife before I give a label to husband. So what is ignorance between husband and a wife? The husband and a wife, they fight against each other. The man and the women do not fight against each other. Now show me where is the husband in you and where is the wife in you. You prove me where is the husband in you. It is simply a label. We claim this label is true. How dare you say me? But before that, you are my honey. You see that? Do you see that? So once you understand the intellect is clear, we have a right perception. After that you practice meditation, the knowledge of the reality reveals in you. You see that? By all these examples, we understand that I am not the body and I am not the mind. That is why I say my mind. I say my car. So wherever I use my, it is not I. Are you clear? It is my right hand. So it means my right hand is not me. My phone, it is not me. So you see that? If it is my body is I am, it means when I say my phone, then I am the phone. I am the car. It's my car. It's my house, so I am the house. So you see the ignorance part? It's a matter of convenience. The mind makes us crazy. And now see, I can promise you that you talk to your honey without being a wife or a husband, there can never be any conflict. Husband and wife, these labels, father and son and sibling, all these labels are simply labels. We should not attach our emotion. I know your mind might be thinking a lot of things in relation to honey, but first level that you should contemplate first. Remove the label. And then talk. You see, that is what happens. Couple is fighting and somebody knocks the door. Don't fight now. Somebody has come. That guy is also a person. See the truth. And so why we stop fighting? Not because of the stranger. We raise our awareness. When you live in a higher awareness, fight is not there. Not because of the stranger who knocked the door. But why we feel that it is some stranger who knocked the door, that is why we stopped fighting. Because we live in ignorance. What is the goal of meditation? To remove ignorance. So understand, ignorance is incomplete knowledge. That is why the Master says that this real self is untouched, not affected by our actions, whether you say a person a honey or we say a person a cruel or a criminal, doesn't have any effect. Whether the water turns into tsunami or the waves, very pleasant waves. So first we have to discover that real self in us. And once you discover, then allow. What happens? Last point, and then we will continue our discussion. So once you discover this real self in you, that is of the nature of permanent happiness, love, and wisdom. So what happens now? That happiness now enters, descends into the mind, into the body and the sense organ. Now you don't see the clay pot, you see the clay. So you communicate with other person as me and mine, of the nature of the consciousness. Then what happens? Now honey is angry. You say, do you want a cup of tea first? You don't get upset. You don't get upset. See, I'm telling you how realistic the journey is. We need to understand. So now see, my dad used to get very authoritarian and used to get angry, and I said, Dad, first we will take a cup of tea and then we will talk. And that I learned from my master. It's a part of the journey once you clearly understand. It took me a couple of months before my mind was clear, and I said, Dad, first we will take a cup of tea and then we will talk. So you see that you become angry, that's a point of ego. So if you become angry and I do not become, your ego hurts. Fight cannot continue. You see, it's a very beautiful point. Master taught me and I said, oh, this is just a play and a fun for me. But it took me a couple of months to realize that. You know why? Because the mind lives in ignorance and it says, how dare Dad, you said me this thing. So that was left completely. And after a few weeks, my dad stopped being angry over me. He knew I'll always invite him for a cup of tea first. And then I said, if you don't take a cup of tea, I will not talk to you. With a bigger smile on my face. Life changed. So when I applied these principles, I said, oh, what a beautiful life it is. That I saw that my dad is nothing but another clay pot. We all are clay. We all are one consciousness. You see that there is another logic which applies here also. If the tongue is hurt by your teeth, do you punish teeth? Look at it. But when you use your label, couple, honey, husband and wife, then you are ready to fight. How can your right hand fight with your left hand? No way. You know it is both of you, belongs to you. So what happened? Inner transformation took place. Now the mind has left all the wrong notions and now it is living in right notion, right knowledge. You see, life becomes beautiful in spite of anyone outside. Don't ask me, it does not mean, oh, we should not marry. I'm not saying that. Did I say that? So don't create another wrong notion. That is your choice. That is your choice. That's another story. So let us start our meditation practice today. Find out the most comfortable posture, position of the body, sitting, lying, whatever you want to do. We are in the beginning of a journey, so eyes are closed and make your body comfortable. So, how I can make my body comfortable? I have to be aware and listen to the instructions. So first place your body in a right position so that the mind says more or less it is comfortable. Then look at the neck joint, where what we are searching, be very clear about it. What we are searching our real self deep inside, behind the body and the mind. So we have to start the journey from outside to inside. So looking at the neck joint, who is looking? Mind. So when it looks, you have a feeling. So that feeling, we say it is sensation, comfortable, and steadiness. Look at the shoulder joints. Be there, feel sensation, comfortable, and steadiness. So after steadiness, check where the mind is going. Is it looking inside or is it going outside? Or it starts running after chasing some thoughts. The agenda of today or yesterday or some feeling. That is what I say the impurity of the mind. One way to say it. So I said you will become aware. Why? Because you all are listening to me, not listening to your mind. So if you are listening to the mind while listening to my instructions, that is another problem in the mind, distraction. Distraction drains our energy too much. Or we say that when you gather the mind that is scattered in different directions, simply gather the mind that is scattered in different directions, it induces a deep relaxation. That is our definition in Eastern wisdom of relaxation. So look at the hip joint. Be there, feel the sensation. Comfortable and steadiness. How do I know that there is a thought in the mind? There is a knower or the seer behind the thought. That is what we say, I become aware. So what we say, this you have to separate in your mind from the awareness that you are different and separate from the entire impressions and the thoughts and the feelings at this moment. Who separate? It is your self-awareness. We normally say it is witness, but to make you understand, I simply say you are doing nothing. 3 examples I normally give. First is, these thoughts are like the ripples in the water on the surface of an ocean. When you go deep down, there are no ripples. So what is deep down is one awareness, is the seer is looking at the ripples on the surface. Simply separate, no fighting. Good thought, bad thought, high, low. Very good. Second example, you are standing across a road watching the traffic moving. And it is the same mind, the mental traffic is there, but behind that traffic, I am aware of it. You are simply aware, you know it. And the birds flying in the sky. birds flying in the sky. So what happens? You keep looking at the birds. They come, they appear and disappear after some time. What remains is the space. We forget the space which contains the bird. We forget the mind that contains the thought. Mind is the container, and that container is the seer. We are not doing anything. So even if your mind complains, I had lot of thoughts and distractions, it comes, no doubt, but you are not that. But the mind does not leave that. So we still blame that is my experience in meditation, and that is why we have the next step, which is known as the nyas. In the state of sensation, comfortable and steadiness. You look at the breath. Make your breath little, deep, silent and slow. Not very deep, just as if the deeper, so that you feel your belly is going out and then the chest in one unbroken breath. And when you exhale, the belly drops down, so the rib cage. That is what I call the deep, silent and slow breathing. What we are doing in this step? We are engaging the mind to live within. 1. We are purifying the mind. 2. We are regaining the greater attention and the focus. Why? We need that to search our real self. So now what we will do? So consider this deep, silent, slow breath is your car. Mind is the driver. And where it is driving? The highway inside the body. How? Start. As you inhale, move the mind inside the right arm from the shoulder to the fingertips. In the space inside. Singing mentally, Om Shanti. And as you exhale, the mind moves with the breath from the fingertips inside to the shoulder. In the highway. What is highway? The space, the emptiness. Om Shanti. Om Shanti means Om is the designator of the real self, and Shanti means peace. You are doing it. I know you are aware. You understand it. Body remains in the state of sensation, comfortable and steadiness. Rather, you may start experiencing tingling and the numbness in the body. That is good. Recognize it, accept it, do nothing to the body. Continue your journey. And now move the mind inside the left arm from the shoulder to the fingertips in the space within. Singing in your mind, Om Shanti, while breathing out from the fingertips to the shoulder in the highway, in the space, Om Shanti. Now inside the right leg. As you inhale gently, mind moves inside the right leg from the right side of the waist to the toes in the empty space. Singing mentally Om Shanti. As you exhale, mind moves now inside the left leg in the same way, but you recognize the sensation, comfort, and steadiness in the body. You are fully aware, not falling into laziness or the sleep, and then continue the journey inside the left leg. Now inside the spine, from the crown of the head to the tailbone, the breath is moving smoothly. The mind is reciting in the mind, moving on the highway in the space inside the spine. As you exhale, the mind moves with the breath, exhaling from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Om Shanti. And now leave this step. Allow the breath to be normal. Now see, we give a very softer touch to the mind, to our awareness, and that can take us very deeper. No change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath now. You are looking at the breath. So what is the knowledge you get by looking at the breath is going in and out? First point of awareness. Second point, when the breath goes in, you feel the sensation. When the breath comes out, you feel the sensation. Second point. Third point, you are not changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Now the fourth point. Every time the breath goes in on its own, look inside at a point in the space inside the forehead. Breath goes in casually. The mind drops inside the forehead in the space and you pick up a point. Breath comes out. Again you pick up a point in the outer space. Space is there and just the mind. Let the breath move on its own, natural. You will recognize if the thoughts are coming, you are not going there. As if your car is on the cruise. You are simply aware of all the points, and it is simply happening. It is not doing, it is happening. In fact, it is the fifth point. Just become aware of all the 5-point awareness. No change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. You are aware. Breath is moving in and out. You are aware. You feel the sensation inside the nose of the breath. You are aware. And now comes, I am simply saying, the moment the breath goes in, inside the forehead, you are aware of the space and the point. The space is the fourth, fifth is the point. Any point. And when the breath comes out, you are aware of the space and the point. And do nothing, remain as you are. You're in a state of doing nothing. that doing nothing, the mind becomes transparent and the knowledge of the reality dawns. By practice with a commitment. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside, know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We will share our experiences now to help us progress. How are you, Sophie?
I am good. At the beginning, I was seeing things were turning. Never had that before. Yeah. And then I found my body very heavy and I'm very good. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, the heaviness of the body means that we are going away deeper inside, or lightness. It has two elements. So simply understand these two experiences, heaviness or lightness. One thing is sure, that the mind is living within. So, how are you, John?
I actually find it difficult to do nothing because I lay there and I get all these distracting thoughts, and I find that difficult to deal with.
Is AC on in your house?
I'm sorry?
Is AC on in your house?
The AC? No.
Air conditioner is not on in your house?
It better not be.
So are you doing anything to do with the AC? Not.
No.
So when I think that how to do nothing, that creates the problem. I have to simply be aware. Are you getting it? Are you listening to me? Your ears are open. That's why you are listening to me. Are you doing anything? By default, your ears are open. So you are simply aware and doing nothing. Just see the other example. Are you looking at me? Eyes are open. By default, you have to see me. So you are doing nothing. So what is bringing a confusion in the mind? That I see you, it is also a thought. I listen to you, it is also a thought. But in fact, the mind is not making any effort. It is by just default, whatever is happening, happening. Thoughts are coming. Very good, mind. Continue. I'm doing nothing. You see? Do you see that? Do you see the point?
Yeah, I think so.
Just a little awareness we need, and that's all. That's all.
Awareness.
Awareness. In the morning session with a lot of people are there in our Arizona group. So one sent me the money by Venmo, and he wrote just out of affinity or out of affection, that crazy beard guy. Do I have to do anything? Nothing. Nothing. He loves me very much. He's quite young, an IT expert. So I talk about myself as a crazy, I have a crazy beard. So he took it easily. What I have to do. But the moment I start doing something, reaction comes, blame comes. One part. That is also the state of doing nothing. And second part is more important. Can you give me a certificate that I'm crazy? You cannot. Who the hell you are to give me a certificate? No. So let me remain calm and peaceful and do nothing. Apply this in your relationship and you will see the change. How are you, Mead?
I felt scared at first, like I was going on a journey and I didn't know what is it, what's happening, and then little by little, I dropped away my fears, and I felt peaceful, and I could come home to myself.
Yes.
And I was okay.
Yes, it happens, Mead, when the mind transcends the body. The mind is so much deeply attached, and when we transcend the body seems to melt away, and then the mind is searching, I was the body, where is the body? I was the body, where is the body? That is why we need to understand clearly. One, that is why we need to continue the journey with a teacher. So that, teacher knows what kind of experiences you have. So that's a beautiful experiences. Yes. How are you, Charlie?
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Well, I was struck by something you mentioned about the body and when we die, and Sophie will know, my mum recently died, and so I was thinking about consciousness and who we are. If we're all this, then my mum's still part of that. So I found that quite comforting. So when I went into the meditation, there was part of me that's like, I want to get there because I know my mum's floating around in there, and that would be really cool. So but I wasn't looking for her. I wasn't like trying to look and do something, but I was like, well, if we're all part of this wave, then my mum hasn't gone anywhere. She's just there.
Yes.
Her body's not there.
That's a beautiful expression of your intellect during the practice of meditation. So that you can say is one step. But the highest step is, when I am not the body, who dies? Who can die? Is there any birth or death? So that we will take up in the following sessions, that once we understand that we are not the body, it is the body that takes the birth, grows, decays and dies. Do I have a choice to control the body? No. Do I have the choice to remain sweet 16? No. There is no chance. Did I have such a great beard as I had when I was born? No. So everything is constantly changing in the field of consciousness. That consciousness is me. I'm none of these changes. We have to reach to that state of consciousness in meditation. So the first thing, definitely it is wonderful the way we start thinking rightly. That is important. Right knowledge is important. Any question? You have a question? Okay.
Yeah. So, I think last time you mentioned about thoughts that leads us astray, like all the thoughts that go, what I am, what I have, what I possess. If I say I am happy, is that a thought that is gonna make me suffer? Because I don't say what I am, I say I am happy. Or it still is.
So, when I discover and awaken to a real life experience that I am of the nature of happiness, wonderful. So, that is the final destination. Second part, even when I say I am happy, I should be aware whatever is changing is not me. That I is always happy. That I is pure consciousness. But when I say I am happy, mind says, who cares you? You are so sad, you have so many problems. The more you say I am happy, the mind says you are crazy. So as long as the conflict in the mind is there, then to say I am happy does not make a sense. The way I told you, we meet people, we say, hey, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. But we know. But we know whether we are happy or we are not. So three levels you should. But yes, for the sake of social norm, we have to say, but make sure you are aware. I'm speaking in ignorance. You recognize your ignorance. So when you maintain that awareness, that you are aware, I'm actually not happy, but for the sake of social norm, I'm saying I'm happy. So what will happen? It will not gather impression in the mind. That is what the Master is saying, that consciousness is untouched by these, whatever happening in the mind. And these are subtle points, so we'll pick up those subtle points. That is why Master says, I recall something, Manai Manishyanam Karanam Bandhamokshayo. Mind is the cause of the bondage in the situation I just explained. And mind is the cause of the freedom. The transparent mind perceives that pure consciousness. And that is of the nature of happiness. Where is the problem? You see these principles, how beautifully they have been discovered by our great masters. I don't know anything. I pass on the knowledge to you in my own expression. So you are definitely doing nothing, John. Remain there in that state. So that is all for today. Thank you. We'll meet again next week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.